Never fear. Intel is here. Jimmy says, the voices said you would be on. You hear them too? What's up, Chef? Welcome back to the Build Show. Jimmy, welcome back to the Build Show. Mason. Welcome back to the Build Show. Roy, the Intel guy, welcome back to the Build Show. Uh-oh. Intel, don't burn me, please. What do you mean? I'm not going to burn anybody with Intel. I don't do that, do I? All right. You know what I mean. Gotcha. Ew, I smell brown fans. Ah, yes. The Noctua fans. Noctua. Or bend you. I won't. Where you been, Ant-Man? I've been right here this whole time. Welcome back to the Build Show, Ant-Man. So, Noctua. Spit on that thing. We're not going to go there. We are not going to open that door tonight. Masonic. That makes way more sense with the IK, but it's all good. I like Masons and I like Sonic, so it's Masonic. That's just wrong. Thank you, Chef, for being on my side. Although the thought, as soon as I saw that video clip, that was the first thing that came to my mind, was Noctua. It would be an epic way to advertise Noctua fans. I don't know why they didn't jump on that. What's up? What's a better buy, price or performance, a 9060 XT or a 5060 Ti? I mean, performance per dollar, probably the 9060 XT, because of, and of course, you didn't put a gigabyte behind the 5060 Ti, so we don't know if we're talking about the 5060 Ti 8 gig or the 5060 Ti 16 gig, but if it's the 16 gig, which I'm assuming, then the 9060 XT 16 gigabyte would probably be the better buy price, performance per dollar price. Yeah. So, if you're looking for a better bang for your buck, the 9060 XT 16 gigabytes. If you're looking for more compatibility and more frame gen, then maybe the NVIDIA is a better option. Right on. Let's throw me over to the side. And let's go through the build we're about to do for Mr. Unknown. Always go with NVIDIA. I mean, Roy has tried both sides, and he prefers the NVIDIA. Well, let's go through the build. So to start off, I'm gonna spit this out because I don't have a build sheet. All of these components, this is from a local customer named Mr. Unknown, who dropped off all of these components, so I know who he is. But I'm pretty sure he asked me to stay unknown, so we are gonna call him Mr. Unknown tonight. This 4090 is actually from a build that I previously did for him. So we did a build for him previously, but he wants to do another build. And so he's keeping his 4090 and putting it in this build because 5090s are stupid expensive. So I do not blame him for doing that. Somebody throw the build command in there for me. I went through and did all this nice stuff. I need something to read off of, but I can probably wing it. So first off, we have the 9950 X3D for our CPU tonight. So the biggest AIM 5 CPU you could possibly get is here among us. The 9950X3D, which we will be using, of course, our Thermalright contact frame for the installation of that. And we will be using the Cryonaut Extreme by Thermal Grizzly for the thermal paste. And that is being installed onto a Asus ROG Crosshair X870E Extreme. Let that echo a little bit. The Extreme. So, super awesome board, by the way. Don't get to build with many of these because they are expensive. So, that's why you don't get to see a lot of them. Not everybody wants to drop as much money as you're dropping on this board here. Most people are like, okay, CPU, graphics card, and that's my budget. So the rest of it we just have to fit in. And so that being said, this is pretty much an all-out build. So we are maxing our memory with DDR5. This kit is a Trident Z5 Neo RGB kit, which is AMD Expo certified. It is a 6,000 megahertz kit with timings of CL26. So actually, my note in the build command there is incorrect. I said CL28. This is actually CL26, which is even tighter timings than what I have listed there. But this is 96 gigabytes. So 248 gigabyte sticks, totaling out to 96 gigs. So we have pretty much the maximum RAM we could put on this board with the CPU while still being able to run our memory speeds and our timings. That's pretty much your max. Next is a Gen 5 SSD by Samsung. It's the 9100 Pro. This is a 8 terabyte 9100 Pro. So I don't think he's going to have storage constraints or issues with speed on that drive. So it's a actually, I think I left a 2 terabyte drive in there also. A typo. That was supposed to be an 8 terabyte 9100 Pro, not a 2 terabyte. So, my bad. You guys caught me. He's powering Elon's servers for cybercars. Pretty much, yeah. And, Chef, I don't know why the build command didn't come over there. I'll have to look at that in just a second. Next, as we already talked about, we have the RTX 4090 Asus ROG Strix OC edition that we'll be adding to the build, which is a card that he had in his previous system. We're going to be powering the system with a 1600 watt Seasonic 80 plus titanium massive power supply. This is the Prime version of their Prime lineup from Seasonic. And then we've got for the CPU cooler, we've got the Liquid Freezer 3 by Arctic, which is the Liquid Freezer 3 Pro 420. So 420 millimeters on that radiator, and I think we are planning to replace some of those fans with the 140s that we have here. I don't know what these 120 millimeters are meant for. But the case that we're putting all of this in is the Antec Flex Pro, which is a full tower. So it's a big case. It's a beast. I don't know if this camera is far enough up where we can fit it all in frame. So hopefully that is the case. Finally, a 9100 M.2. I've built a few of them. Hey, what's up, Tony? Welcome back to the build show, sir. My 9070 XT had to be tinkered with all the time. I would just want something to work, and that card wasn't it. Yeah, it's a tinkery card. That's a monitor in a PSU box. Pretty much, yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. It's so big and shiny. Let me double check to see why the Twitch command is not working. So the build command worked over on YouTube, but it did not work on Twitch. Big check. That's interesting. Hey, Steve. Welcome back to the Build Show. I don't know why it's not working over there. It should be. Not gonna troubleshoot it any further. Steve says, by the way, I have 8 endings in Silent Hill 2 Remake now, plus I turned 65 yesterday. Well, happy birthday. I am still a young boy. I'm glad you feel that way. I feel pretty old at where I'm at, and I'm about halfway, a little more than halfway to you. Tony says, I got the 32-inch mini LED screen. I was just playing Dead Island 2 at 4K Ultra, and it seemed to run fine on my 4070. Yeah, the 4070 could hold its own. Ben, are you going to upgrade your PC this holiday? That is the plan. Somebody is forcing me to do that. I don't know if he's going to join us here in the chat or not, but we'll have some interesting streams up ahead, as well as we still have to schedule and do reschedule the rescheduled Tech Talk show that we were planning to do. Again, I'm the bottleneck, so I apologize. We will do it soon. So, I'm going to move some of this hardware out of the way, and we're going to get started with the motherboard, the CPU, the RAM, the SSD. Like that. Yeah, this box is always really cool when they show up with these boxes. Makes it so that they can stack them. It's interesting. Definitely don't need these fans yet. Okay, now that we've got some space here to work with this, why is it just me or is it cutting off the bottom though? It is. There we go. Might be a little bit cockeyed. Okay, that's better. Let's go ahead and open this thing up and get started. We have wonderful instructions right here on the box telling us how to, which I'll probably have to come back and reference this, how to release these M.2 shields and how to also release the graphics card properly. There's an emphasis on that for sure. Then, of course, you have all your awesome hardware that comes along with it. I don't think we need any of that for this particular build. We'll have to probably reference the manual online for the M.2 placement because it's the Gen 5 drive. And I know a lot of times on these Asus boards, when you put them in this top slot, they like to disable PCIe lanes. So we gotta make sure we're doing the right one there. Once we get to that. But this oh yeah, Empower AI spits that out, but not the build command? What the heck? If you don't mind $300 for DDR5 RAMs, yeah. Yeah, if you don't mind spending $300 for 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM right now. By the way, can't the 9060 XT do 4K 60 in modern games? I'd say it's possible, but I don't know how well it's going to run. I don't know if it'll maintain 60 frames per second steady. I would say probably more of a 2K card. If you know, that being its ceiling. Maybe with frame gen. Kind of curious because the mini LED screen, it's a flat screen, but it seems to be curved backwards a little bit. Is that normal? No, that is not normal. It should not be bent backwards. If that's the case, you might have a damaged screen, Tony. Stay young. Yes, stay young at heart. Don't drink, don't smoke, eat good food, and you'll be fine. I'm trying to do that. Then you are on your way. You are. So here we go. We've got our Corsair Extreme X870E motherboard. We're going to go ahead and drop our CPU into the socket, which is the Ryzen 9 9950X 3D. And then we'll move on to the RAM and double check the storage. We'll also get the contact frame installed on the CPU as well. So let me drop that down just a little bit. And we'll get started. So who here is excited for the weekend? Because I am. It means I don't have to go anywhere tomorrow. That's what I'm probably most excited about, is not having to go anywhere. At least I don't think I have to go anywhere. Pretty sure I don't have to go anywhere. 99.9% sure. Max is hanging out down here below me. He already had his dinner. So he's satisfied for the evening, other than just waiting for me to stop working so you can hang out with me. There is our CPU installed into the socket. I'm gonna try to save these boxes because he bought all of these parts, and I want to give him the option to take the boxes back, because I think that's what he wanted to do last time. I'm trying not to destroy the boxes. Little stuff like the Thermalright contact frame packaging, though, I'm probably gonna chuck that. What is for dinner? We had a stew made by Mrs. Empower. It was like a beef stew. Very good. Although I technically have not eaten yet, so as soon as I eat today, because I had a pretty late lunch. If I eat dinner, I'm gonna get really sleepy, so I avoided eating dinner. I snacked a little bit, but that was it. That way I could stay awake and feel a little bit more snappy while doing this build. That would have been terrible. Yeah, man, I'm here to do your build, man. I'm gonna go fall asleep. That's usually why I don't do dinner this late. Gets me sleepy. My metabolism is very slow. Alright, that is good to go. Next is our 96 gigabytes of DDR5 6000 CL26 G-Skill Trident Z5 Neo RGB RAM. Blah, 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 blah. A lot to say. That's a mouthful. I had clam chowder, then sardines for dessert. I could get on board with the clam chowder, but I don't think I could get on board with the sardines. Definitely not my thing. There we go. Those are installed. Now we can move on to our SSD. Which is, again, an 8 terabyte 9100 Pro by Samsung. It's a Gen 5 SSD, so we want to make sure we put it in a Gen 5 slot, which this board has a bazillion slots. So first thing I'm going to do is remove the caution sticker, which says only remove, I don't know if you guys can remove that, only remove the expansion card from the end closest to the motherboard rear I/O ports. So it wants us to lift it up like this. I guess not straight out. It says actually, yeah, don't lift it straight out, which is interesting. I always lift it straight out. Good to know. All right, so before we go and take any of these panels off, I do want to double check and verify where we want to install this SSD. Pretty sure it's going in the top slot, but I know with some of these Asus boards, they like to disable PCIe lanes with the top slot. So I'm going to verify this real quick. Done this before. So, as you saw, it looks like the M.2 one slot is the correct slot that we're going to want to go into. So, that's what we're going to do. It said if we used M.2 2 or M.2 3, that it would be disabling or running half the speed and starts disabling stuff. So we're going to put this into M.2 1, which is this top slot here. Steve says he's going to be right back. Okay. Yeah, no problem, man. It's a Scandinavian thing. Lots of games on that. Oh, yeah. So let's go ahead and get these peeled up. They're a little tricky because they're small. I have big, fat fingers. I just use a flathead, little teeny tiny flathead screwdriver to grab it. We don't need that one. Kind of lift it up. There's our 9100 Pro, 8 terabyte. Such a weird design. But I will take it. Okay, so with that being done, we do have... Oh, I got a little foggy. We do have brackets to install for the cooler, which we'll do. Remove these. And then we'll bust out the cooler. When are you going to upgrade your PC? Soon. It'll be soon. Boy, the picture on this thing is surely good. It's not quite as good as the OLED, but it is super close. Nice. It's some high-quality PC building on the screen. Ah, crap. Already ruined this box. I know I've said this 1,000 times with the Arctic Liquid Freezer 3, but they have a left and a right side bracket. I'll reiterate on that. Make sure you install the left one on the left side and the right one on the right side. They have little markings on them. You'll see right there an R on the right side and an L on the left side. Make sure you put them on the correct side, because there is offset mounting, and if you do it the wrong way, your offset mounting is going to be on the cooler side of the CPU, not the hotter side. Or it's going to be centered up on the cool spot, not the hot spot. We definitely want to make sure we put it on the correct sides. There we go. Mounting brackets are in place. One really nice feature of this board is there is no lack of fan headers on this board. Very nice. Also, I do remember building with this one before, because we have all of the connectors on the side here. I actually remember having to deal with something around this before, didn't I? Like, doesn't this come up? I can't remember. Something. I can't remember what board it was that I was dealing with. It was an Asus board that was absolutely way overkill. Oh my goodness, the build command started working. Look at that. Okay, so with that being said, done, we are now good to get the case out. Which is this behemoth of a box. Big box. It is the Antec Flex Pro, by the way. Fine, I'll do it myself moment. Nice. Oh, did you just copy and paste that? I just noticed. I don't know why, but randomly it breaks on some of the platforms like that and just doesn't start working. It was the Apex I brought over. That's what it was. I couldn't remember which board it was that. That makes sense. That was a insane board. I caught on, some giant idiot. I caught on. Like, oh, he copied and pasted it. Oh, okay, I don't know if this is actually gonna fit in frame. Pretty big. So, we'll see. On a big case. I'm gonna have to make a big case build station or something. We keep getting more of these. Beautiful case, so weird. There's a little thingamabopper going on there. I don't know what that is. So the The brown on the front is going to go good with the brown on the inside with the Noctua fans. It is a toolless entry. I actually have no idea what his plan was with these fans, so I got to figure that out. I talked to him about planning out fans for a different case, or two cases, and then he ended up getting this case, which was different than kind of what we discussed. So I got to figure that out. We got to spend a minute here and figure out the fan situation. Got a little screen on it. Nice. Oh, that is cool. That just lifts off after you open it up. Toolless and everything. That is dope. But I just removed that because I know for sure that's going to fall out. Power supply install goes. Oh, weird. Very weird. It installs here. Oh. That is interesting. The shift. I-shift is what they call it. I forgot about that. I feel like I built in the Flux, but not, maybe not this one. It's familiar. Nice. There's our back. We got a huge fan hub up here with some RGB as well, and synchronization connections for your motherboard. Already ran all the way down here, which is super convenient. It's a nice case. I like it. How much did the 4090 cost? Just curious. The 4090 came out of his old build, so I actually looked it up, and it was around 1,600 bucks or something, available on Amazon right now. So not as much as a 5090. Thank goodness. But let's go ahead and figure out or plan the fans. Plan the fans. We do have fans included, but I don't think his intent was to use these fans. So these A12s, I assume, are for the bottom, because there's 3 120 spots here for the bottom. I'm pretty sure that's what those are for. And the rest of these, large stack of them. I got 1, 2, 3 for the front. And then 1, 2, 3 for the cooler. What about the rear? His intent was to use this. We'll have to figure that out. Unless he was going to just do a 120 back here and the 2 down here. And then this one stays. We missing a fan? I don't know if he's missing a fan here or if his intent was to just use one of the rear ones, because my guess would be 3 on the cooler, 3 on the front. So for the aesthetics, what I'm going to do is leave the front one, bottom front, replace the top two and replace this one. So we'll keep the fan that came with it down here at the bottom. Hey, Mike Novak. Thank you for the like over there on the Facebook. Casey as well over on Facebook. Thank you for the like. Onra, the good Antec. In the old days, it was the goated in PC cases. It was one of the best. If video cards came out at the same price or same pace as consoles, it wouldn't sting so much. I think the price would just keep going up. But I think that's what we'll do is we'll keep that bottom fan, replace the two on the front, replace this one. It'll be way more balanced with the aesthetics, and then we'll have the three on the cooler and the three on the bottom here. That is what we'll do. I think that was, I don't know. Don't know what is it. Maybe he meant to leave the rear one. If he's here in the chat, feel free to share thy wisdom. What do you guys think? We've only got 6 140s. $2028, I'll buy a 5090 for $1,200. I don't know. 4090 has been out for how long, and it's still how much? Hold your breath. That is for sure. They change out every 2 years. Yeah, sounds about right. We'd have the 9060 at $500 that can beat the 5090. Oh yeah. $4090 performance for $500. Introducing the 5070. And everybody in that room was like, kind of like halfway clapping, like, what did he just say? I think he even had to repeat himself to make it sound better. Noctua. Yeah. The only complaint that I've ever had with these is the length of their cables. They're like super short. For the price you pay, I wish they were a little longer. They do come with an extension cable, but it's annoying. And a Y cable. And then the low noise adapter. Probably have to use the extension. The more you buy, the more you save. Now somebody's getting it. A lot of cables to avoid one regular cable. Exactly. Yeah, that's the one complaint that I've ever had with Noctua. They're like so granule. Everything's granuled. Epic Gamer. That's right, my friends. Epic Gamer, is it impressive to be able to go down to -49 in core offset? Because that's what I could do, and it's kind of stable. Any lower, it won't boot. Yeah. I guess it's pretty impressive. What's the purpose that you're doing that for, I guess? I'd be more curious about that. Huh. So this is the way I think of it. RTX 5080 is $1,000 to $1,300 with 16 gigs of GDDR7 VRAM, and RTX 4090 has 24 gigs of VRAM GDDR6. 4090 still beats the 5080. 4090 would be the one to get. Yes, it's always been like that. Same thing with the 3090 back in the day when the 4000 series launched. Everybody's like, get the 4080, and then everybody else was that kind of knew. They're like, go get a 3090. Made more sense, right? Just cooler temps, that's all. Gaming, I don't get any hotter than 33. That's very good. What CPU are you running, Epic Gamer? Forgive me if you've told me before. Sounds like an Intel for stability. If you're able to get it stable like that, it sounds more like an Intel processor. I feel like AMD's a little bit more finicky. when you start playing around with it. Nice. I just pooped out. Go. That was retarded. I have a feeling I'm going to move this down because of the 420 millimeter AIO. Further down. Only one more notch, I could have moved it down. We got the front fans. Oh gosh. See why extensions are terrible? I just noticed this. Thank goodness I didn't have to undo that. The flux is big enough to fit that. Thank goodness. Alright, so let's remove this rear fan and then remove the two bottom fans. And then install our Noctua fans. This is why I like doing it without the board, so I can get my hands in places it doesn't belong. There we go. Okay, another tray. Hey, chapter fan. Sorry, Mr. Chat there. Hey, what is better, the RTX 5060 or the Ryzen 7700, Ryzen 7 7800 X3D, or an RTX 5070 and a 9070 XT? For gaming, I would go with the 5070 9700X. Yes, I agree with that. Thank you for answering that, Onra. Monitors are the worst. Both the monitors I just bought were $1,300 or more. 2 years ago, I got one for $550 and the other one for $350. Yes, monitors are getting more expensive. Epic Gamer. I'm currently running all-core 7800 X3. Oh, I almost thought it would be Intel because of how stable you said it is. That is actually pretty surprising. We're using the Noctua NF-A12 by 25 PWM Chromax Black swappable corners. I'm going to just keep them the default color, though. You also have all these wonderful anti-vibration screws and things that come with it. We're not going to use any of these. Just the fan. And we're going to set this up so that it is oh, go back in. Intake. They're going to be flipped around. Like so. Yep. 3 more to go. Does go in there. Let's see here. My man bought a 7800 X3 and tuned it into a 5800 X3D in eco mode. That's impressive. Expensive as hell. What is he? RTX 6090 will come out, but maybe not the supers this generation. I don't think those supers are coming out, guys. PC building is going to slow down because of the price of everything. So I expect or anticipate everybody else to follow suit, especially as everything is so focused on AI. NVIDIA is going to do the same thing as memory. Motherboard prices are going to go up because they're going to stop producing as many because they're not building as many PCs, right? Push it a little and have some fun. Just replace things when they get old. No point in caging the beast. That's what I do. You're going to work your entire life. Nice. Yeah. So, got these bottom fans installed, and now we can get that rear fan installed, and then maybe we can go on to a motherboard install. I just felt like dealing with the fans first, but then it's pretty much smooth sailing from there. Right? One more rear fan to go in. Well, I rip it every time. And then we have 3 fans to replace on the cooler. And then we're done with fans. Maybe his intent was not to put a rear fan in here at all. I've never been able to open those little devil boxes, without ripping them. I always rip them, no matter how hard I try not to rip them. Okay. There's our Noctua fans. And before we put the board in, we can go ahead and replace the 3 fans on the 420 millimeter AIO. Thank goodness these are already thick fans. Makes it a little easier. The screws are nice and thick. I'm gonna grab or steal the extension out of these, just in case we need them. We actually might have to replace these screws, because they are too long. Well, I only threw 4 of them in there. Let's get some replacement screws. Gotta get black ones all the same. Don't like how that one threaded. What is up with these? I didn't realize that there were such different threads on these style of screws, but there are. Hi. Not often I see you build with these fans, yeah. Well, the customer ended up picking out his build, picking up his own parts and bringing it here. I mean, he was asking questions throughout picking out the parts, but for the most part, it was all him. Then he brought me all the parts, and then now I'm doing the build. It's a good thing, too, because we would have ran into the issue that I ran into, which is, oh no, the radiator screws don't fit. And then I just so happen to have a big bucket of screws. Probably because I do a few builds, you know. But yes, we are using the Nakua fans tonight. Hoping that I could just do this. A little zippy zip. Wherever my zippy zips are. And I hope that doesn't get in the way. We'll find out soon. There we go. Nice and clean. Okay. Now that that is done, we can drop a board in here. Fine array. I assume in a full ATX tower, these studs are in the right place. Which they do appear to be. Remind me to install this. I always forget. Haha. What is that? What is what? What is what? What? How often does someone bring their own? Well, it happens a few times. For those that want to put the build together on paper, but they don't want to do the work of building it. Or they're just worried they're going to run into, for example, the issue I ran into, which is the screws don't fit. It's a lot more convenient to take it to a builder who has everything here when you run into that problem. I am just now realizing that we cannot use the GPU support bracket on this motherboard. Covers up the mounting point, which is right here. Actually, I have to double check to see if that's even a mounting point under this bracket. I hate motherboard manufacturers that do this. They cover up mounting points with their little heat spreaders. I'm not a fan of that. You really don't think of that until you're in the moment and you're like, oh. See, there's our hole right there. Underneath the heat spreader. So we can't use the bracket that I was just talking about, how I always forget to put that in. I'm gonna have to figure out a different way to support the GPU, which sucks balls. I'm the one that was like, yeah, use this one. This one's good. This is the best one. This is the one that, this is the only one I ever use, but I don't build with the Corsair very often, so didn't take that into account. Now, we could run it without the heat spreader, technically, but that looks ugly. So we're just gonna have to find a different solution for the GPU support bracket. So, and there's that. 16 gigabyte, one budget 500. Yeah, if you could get a 5060 Ti 16 gigabyte to under 500 bucks. The box, the case. If you're asking about the case, Porgus Lord, this is the Antec Flex Pro, which is a full tower. You'll be happy with the 5060 Ti. 16 gigabyte. Okay, so the board is installed. I think we should get our EPS cables in up here at the top before we put the cooler in. That'll be a pain in the rear if we do that, or try to attempt to do that after. That's what we'll do next. Where'd that go? Aha! So this is a Seasonic 1600 watt 80 plus titanium prime power supply. You can get 5060 Ti 16 gig under 400 bucks. You got to shop around for that deal. Like if you're shopping on Amazon, it's going to be hard to get. But yeah, you can, it is doable. Now that is a bag of cables. Also, slightly concerned about the power supply size because of the Flux having the I shift. I don't know if he confirmed whether or not, because I had recommended, I think, a Seasonic 1200 watt Vertex, which is the square, not the rectangle. This is a rectangle, a larger power supply. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think this is going to fit. We're gonna confirm that real quick. So what the I shift is basically, instead of the power supply facing the rear of the case and the length going out to the length of the case, it's turned so that the back is facing this way and the modular section is facing the back of the case, the side back, the back side. So that's what the I shift does. I don't know if we could switch it around, but that's a wide power supply, or a long power supply, should I say. We need to double verify that. I don't know what the limitations are on this particular case. It actually might fit. Also, we still need to figure out GPU bracket thing. All right. It'll fit your case, yeah. Yeah, well. Oh, the box you said to remind you. I was saying this. The GPU support bracket. The GB02002, which is a Lian Li support bracket. This unfortunately won't fit on this motherboard because of the heat spreader that's on this board, which I had no idea about because I didn't think of that because I don't typically build with this board. So, didn't even come to my thought when I was recommending support brackets. So, that's a problem. The other problem is that this power supply will not fit in this case. What I need to do is look up to see if we could put the power supply the other way. I can't imagine this case. Let's go look it up. What motherboard? It is the Corsair X870E Extreme by Asus. But new problem is the power supply that he picked out is too long for the I-shift in the Flux Pro. Yeah. That's a new problem. I didn't even think of that until we got to this point. So, look at the pretty while I go figure this out. I actually do have a Vertex 1200 watt here, 80 plus, on hand, brand new. So if we absolutely need to use that, I could. And no, that is not yours, Masonic. Test, test. Hello. Oh, wow, that's loud. Hello. Turn that down. Turn that down. There we go. All right, so this is how I was trying to do it. Turn that down too. Holy crap. Okay, so this is how I was trying to do it. Using the iShift. This is like their default installation option, but that's not going to work. The side mount option. So we are going to have to find this bracket, which is not on the case, to do the installation the traditional way. So that's what we have to do. So it is possible. Sorry about your ears. Apologies. It's just this microphone over here I don't use very often. So that is our solution. All right. Good to know. And what do you know? In the box, here it is. So that kind of solves that problem for us. This goes bye-bye. This comes into play. Nice. Oh. There's a will, there's a way. Do 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 do. So yeah. Nice. Yeah, I knew Antec wouldn't have only done the side mount option. I just didn't see the bracket in the box. My bad. And I don't get to build with this case very often. So, cool. Yeah, I don't need the Dremel tool now. Definitely do not need that. That's out in the garage, and that's where it's going to stay tonight. We actually have like a fanny pack here for our cables. This has to be like a adapter or something. Or tester. It does come with a elbow connector, which we don't need because this motherboard already has the elbow. Kind of cool. We also have cable combs. Also kind of cool. I think we need a SATA power on this bad boy. Yes, we need a SATA power on this bad boy. And then if I remember correctly, there was 2 EPS cables, for sure. 24 pin. Eight-pin EPS. 8-pin EPS. And I think board also has PCIe power. One 8-pin PD power, which I think is PCIe power. 12 volt 2, 12 volt 1. 99.9% sure. That guy. And can't remember if that's one that it. It is. So we're good. All right. Those are all the cables we will need. All we want to do is get the EPS cables plugged in. Haha. It's great. Well, fancy. I know it's fancy power supply, fancy case, fancy build. Fancy. So fancy. Okay. That is that. Now, I'm satisfied with that and can proceed with putting this cooler in. Hey there, big boy. Definitely a big boy. Oh my gosh. Don't try this at home. Oh yeah. That was easy. Getting 2 screws in there. No, just one washer is enough. I don't know why you thought you had to have 2 washers. Whew. Been on my feet a lot today. Feeling a little sore. But we are nearly finished, believe it or not. Not a whole lot left after we get this in. Yeah, front panel stuff we still have to plug in that I haven't dealt with yet, which blows my mind. I still haven't done front panel stuff. We got a GPU to install, and then we've got GPU power. Finish installing the power supply, do cable management, and deal with getting these fans plugged in. Yeah, a little bit left. Not much. And then, of course, cable management. Not a whole lot. That was scary for just a moment there. You sit right there. Which reminds me, we have Thermal Grizzly Cryonaut Extreme for this. How could the heatsink of the motherboard be too big? They can't stick out past the PCIe slots. And that long standoff should clear it. Oh, I didn't see your chat there. Shadowized. The heatsink, the heat spreader. So if you're talking about the Lian Li support bracket, going back to that comment, which was a while ago. Oh, I see. I'm thinking of the other GPU bracket that Lian Li has. Yeah, this one is not that one. This one requires the standoff to go through this heatsink, basically. So I'd have to get the Dremel out and drill a hole through that heatsink to make that work. So we're probably going to have to figure out a different support bracket over there on Twitch. Sorry about that. Didn't see that one. Get all flustered when things aren't going together the way they're supposed to be. Then you're like, stop reading chat. Then you forget what you're doing, and then, you figure it out. But I have an L bracket. I just think the 4090 is going to be a little bit too wide, where the support is going to be like right on the fan. So you really don't want to do that. So we're probably going to have to get like a peg or stand, which is originally, funny enough, what the Mr. Unknown, up here, Mr. Unknown, originally wanted to get for his build was the stand. And I talked him out of that and said, no, use this one. So now I'm the dummy. But it's okay. It's not that big of a deal. The GPU will be fine for a couple days till we get the right bracket in. Okay. I were a smart man. I see if I can overnight one for a morning. Okay, now before I zip tie these up, I am going to put this guy on, make sure it fits properly. Hello, what is that? This is an AIO cooler. If we're just talking about what I'm doing right now, so we're installing the 420 millimeter AIO liquid cooler, which is the Arctic Liquid Freezer 3. Over the CPU. Cool it. We're building a PC. Lethal Wick. If that's your question. Tony, I think I messed up my screen. I mounted it to my arm, and I think I screwed in the screws too far. Thought they were supposed to stop before that. So there are, Tony, there are different size screws for different mounting purposes. So if your screws are the wrong ones, they won't just stop. They should. Actually, they should have a back to it, but in case. Oh, this is the Antec Flux Pro. It's a full tower. Hey there, big boy. This is a big boy case. Massive. Also has a little LED screen on it, which is a nice touch. It's like a modernized version. Which I'm assuming and hoping that it's just like a USB connection. Not measuring out the distance between these zip ties. Somebody once asked me. I'm like, no, I just eyeball it. Who the hell has time to measure that? All right. Nice and so clean. You got to zoom in on this. Nice and clean. Got a little peel to peel. Oh yeah. There we go. So, looking good, right? Back the screws up a little bit. I don't know if that was me or not. The picture is awesome. It's just a little bowed. That would make sense as to why it's bowed. Is the PSU overkill? Yes, it's a little bit overkill. But it's okay. It's okay. So, alright. Enough looking at the pretty. Pretty. We're also kind of weirdly positioned here. So, fix that. Alright. Now that we've got that done, get some front panel stuff plugged in and get the fans plugged in, I guess. And then we could drop a graphics card in, slip a power supply in, do a little bit of cable management, and bada bing, bada boom. We're booting up. Assuming everything goes well. Oh, we can put the top back on as well. Don't want to accidentally bend one of those pretty pins on the power supply, or the radiator power supply. See, now you got me talking about power supplies when I'm thinking radiator. Alright. We've got USB 3, USB-C. What else? Fans, adjustable RGB. I think our front panel's right there. That'll be a little tricky. I'm an idiot and put the bottom fans in first. Oh. All right. I think I got this. I didn't think about that, but okay. This guy underneath these guys and reach here, yeah, barely. Oh yeah, it's like I meant for it to happen. I just don't. Look like a dinkle poop. Put it on there. Yep, it's too tight, and it looks like a dinkle poo. Put it on there. So we're gonna add the extension to the extension. Okay. Thanks, Noctua. Any extra, we'll just hook it up. Hey, yeah, look good. This guy's gonna run down here. Actually, might need cable extensions. Make that route right. We're just going to ignore that for now and pretend we didn't see that. That's a problem for later. Pretty sure USB. I've been screwing around with everything else. I can't remember where everything else is now. Okay. Front panel connector. Oh, for the love. HD audio, USB, pretty sure it's there. And then we have a random RGB connector with a hub, which isn't going to do anything, but we're still going to plug it in, right? And then put this back on temporarily for our sanity. Flip this thing back around. Start to get heavy. Blindly put these cables in. Somebody at ASUS was like, "This is a really good idea, guys. Let's put the connectors facing the front of the case." Oh, that's that funky ARGB connector. Box over here. So it has these funky, not that one. Not that we needed it plugged in. And I probably could have sent it to the bottom of the board. Yeah. And then, yeah, this frustrates me, and then the USB-C is facing up. So what's the whole point of this if we got one connector going the other way? Anyway. This better look really clean. What's up? Hey, Vincent Design. Ben! I know those fans are awesome, but they're home. They're home. I understand. I haven't looked at the chat in a minute. That looks really nice. Thank you. Oh, you said what case is that? That makes sense, because what case we're building in the case, and then I didn't answer that way. Forget it. Doesn't that brand make fans that are brown. I like that. I like the design. Yes, Noctua is the only one that makes this color fan, so it stands out. So yeah, it's very unique color. Easy for you to say. What do you mean easy for me to say? What did I say? MSI and Gigabyte do it too with their high motherboards to better go with the back connector. Yeah, the MSI Ghost, or no, not the Ghost. The hell is it called? The MSI backwards motherboard thing. What is that called? Project Zero. Thank you. Thank you. I actually came up with that on my own. Nobody said it in any of the chats. I figured it out. For the record. I know. Oh, this is retarded. Okay, I think I got everything. I'm just plugging in that RGB connector. And the fans. Yeah. Thank goodness I saved these. Do. Thank you for the gifted sub over there on the Twitch side, Tony. Much appreciated. So who got the gifted sub? Porterslaw. That's awesome. I will pay for Infinity fans. I will send you the money. This is specifically what he wanted. Are you sure the anti-sag bracket won't fit, by the way? The long standoffs should have the clearance. I will zoom in for you, Shadowized. I will zoom in for you and I will show you that it will not work. Oh my gosh. Tony with 5 gifted, also over on YouTube. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. That's crazy. So who got it? Wiz Nation, Brian Tan, Uncle Bama, Oinky Boinky, or Oinky Boink, Oinky Boink, and Jonathan Curtis. Jonathan Curtis got it. Some of those names I actually am not familiar with. Oh yeah, we still have GPU power. I will show you. Cheap viewers. Over here. We'll get the bots. I need a copy and then put that as make that a rule. But it does not get allowed. Yeah, I'll show you the problem. The problem. We have a big problem with it. And then it'll all make sense. But then what would I do? Just try to give you less work. If you want to keep the work, you know, I'm not gonna implement AI to get rid of you. If you're, that's how you feel, I will not proceed. I do not want to take the enjoyment of you destroying the bots. You take pleasure out of that. I will leave that to you. Don't want to do this, but kind of do. Open up. Come on. Come on, boy, get in there. Love how this thing's just growing eyes. Give me one of them zip-a-tie things. Pushing. Nice. All right. These are the big question mark here. Let's flip it over. We'll talk about the bracket. Drop that down there for no reason at all. And then we'll come back and put the power supply in. Where do we put the power supply in? And then... let's just put the power supply in and then we'll go back to it. Because then we'll be set up just to drop the GPU in and all that. It'll be like perfect. Wait. There you power supply you. Plug it in. Amount of resistance here. Last fuckers. Whoever thought that was a good idea needs to be fired. Oh, wait, that was me. Good news is the power supply cables reach. Only because I put them on the back. I'm smart. You were hoping to hit somebody in the chat? Yeah. I hear you. Random on the tube. I don't know if you could control where they go to. What's down there? There we go. And then a bazillion little Velcros here. Our EPS cables. we'll come back and tie that up last. Okay, time to answer that. Holy crap, this thing's heavy. Oh. That question. Okay. I need it kind of on an angle. Hold on. All right. I think you could see it. Hold on, we're going to zoom in nice. This one. All right. So, in short, we have a mounting hole there, and usually I'll put it on that screw up there, and then the screw that's actually right here underneath this plate. That's not one of them. That is not one of them. That is not a mounting hole for the motherboard. That is holding this heat spreader over the M.2 slots. So there's a hole right here underneath this big chunk of metal, which is where the standoff needs to go through. Yes. So in order for me to use the Lian Li GB002, I'd have to completely remove this plate, which will uglify the motherboard, because then it'll have exposed crap under there, and it just doesn't look as good. So the answer is we're just going to get one that mounts on the fan, either here or on the third fan towards the front, that just holds the card up, and call it a day. I mean, there's no RGB in the system anyway, so it's not like it being discrete is the biggest deal, in my opinion. I think it kind of gives it an industrial look with the other one. So that is why the bracket is the problem with that particular mount. So that's what's going on there. So with that being answered, we could drop a card in here now, and then fire this bad boy up. This is a 3 card or a 3 slot. This is a 3 slot, right? No, this is only a 2 slot. I get confused. You know, 5090s, 4090s, 2 slots, 3 slots. Who knows anymore? Maybe it's a 6 slot card. I don't know. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. But it is the Asus ROG Strix RTX 5090? 4090, 24 gig. I almost said 5090. You know, Ben's getting tired when he starts calling 4090s 5090s. Luckily, my Aurorus X870E has the standoffs exposed directly. The M.2 heatsink is entirely toolless, yes. I am familiar with the Aurorus Elite, I think is the one that you have. Fancy GPU it is. It is a very fancy. Came from his other... I'm sorry. The Asus instructions made it very specific on how you remove this card, and it kind of got stuck there, so I had to, like, a full panic moment, like, oh crap. I mean, we could almost just do a peg on the back side of this thing. It's like such a big card. So there's that. And then, of course, the last thing we're going to do is plug the power cable in. Yeah. yeah. That looks like a beast. It smells like a beast. And quite frankly, it's because it is a beast. Alright, I got thumbprints here. Nice and shiny. Those are not touching any of the fans. That's kind of cool that you can get into the front here. Kind of like that. Then our wood finished frame going on. Pretty sure it goes like that, right? Yeah. Got a little bit of a bulge we're gonna have to work through, but it fits the chips. Clean up aisle 3, and we'll fire this thing up. Yeah, so I will get a side view of it for you here in just a moment. I forgot this. Of course. $1,600 has the special cable. Never made any sense to me, but Not that you'll be able to see a whole lot. But I mean, there's a cool screen. No, it's not on yet. Why aren't you playing Arc Raiders? I don't know. Should I be? All right, guys. I don't know if Mr. Unknown is here in the chat or not, but if he is and wants to make himself known, he should tell us to fire this thing up. Perfect timing for that song. One of these epic moments, right? Yeah, I know, the screen's going nuts. All right, guys. It is dope. Not gonna lie. 3, 2, 1 on behalf of Mr. Unknown. Here we go. Them fans are going crazy. Might have to actually zoom out. I get to see the back of my everything. I don't know why it doesn't get a little bit more granular with this zoom feature. It's like super picky. It is pretty. Still not a post yet though, guys, so hang in there. It's 96 gigs of DDR5 6000 CL26. It's gonna take a minute. It might be 5 minutes before this thing posts. No, Tony, they don't suck, they blow. They blow air. They don't suck air, they blow. They blow air. Hey, it's doing something. I mean, look at the back curtain just blown away. There we go. We got a post. Yes. Reset the FTPM. Why did DDR4 RAM so expensive? All of the sudden, LMAO. The answer is because of AI. That is why RAM has shot up in price. Both DDR4 and DDR5 RAM prices went up insanely. They doubled, if not almost tripled. And it is because manufacturers shifted over from making consumer RAM for desktops and laptops and whatever. Actually, I don't know if laptop memory went up or not. I assume it did. But that's why, is 100% because of the AI. They shifted over from making desktop memory to making server memory. So therefore, there is less desktop memory available, which means the price based on demand makes it go up. DDR4 is for rich people? No. DDR5 is for rich people. This kit right here was probably like 800 bucks, at least. No joke. Yeah, you should take your kit out, sell it, and go buy an RTX 5090. I'm just kidding. Don't do that, because I have no idea when these RAM prices are going to come back to Earth. Do you need a car? Just take the RAM out of your computer, sell the RAM, and then you could go buy a car. And that's about where we're at. Used car. It would be an SS. For those of you who don't know what an SS is, For cars, it's called a shit shaker. Rusted out junker that doesn't die. I have one of those. I have a Cruise that is 2014, and it's rusting out because we live here in Michigan where the salt is the salt. We also live on a dirt road, so that it gets double whammy. It gets the salt from the salt road from the winter, and then it gets the dirt from the dirt during the summer, and it just didn't stand a chance. But I refused to sell it because it cost me nothing to own it other than the registration and the insurance. So, and it's still really good on gas mileage. In fact, it keeps getting better the more it rusts off, the less it weighs, the better gas mileage it gets. You got a Ventus 2X OC 3070 for $200. Yeah, so if you're gonna go 3070, $200, that was probably a used deal. Your best bet is to probably shop around and find used memory. That is going to be your cheapest option. And hopefully somebody who just has their head in the sand and isn't paying attention to anything that's happening in the real world, such as DDR4 price has gone up, you'll find that person and be able to scoop up the RAM. But I would do that a lot faster now. Like, that is the highest priority. Go get your RAM now, rather than waiting a month, because in a month it's going to be worse. And it's even going to be more worse because it'll be during the holidays when everybody's trying to find it. So definitely go get your RAM right now if you can. That is like next uno top priority, because it's just going to get worse. I got a $150 mini PC with 16 gigs of DDR5. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Because the more you spend, the more you save. Exactly. The more you buy, the more you save. That is a famous quote that we use around here. Chris, I got an iBuyPower PC. Everyone hated on me, but I got the NVIDIA i7. I got an NVIDIA i7 RTX 5060. So you have an Intel i7. Not sure what version that is, but the RTX 5060, NVIDIA RTX 5060, and 2 Corsair RAM sticks. I run every game on 120 plus FPS at the very least. Some games run at 250 FPS. It just depends on the title. Yeah, it'll depend on the title. Different titles will give you different results. The downside, Chris, to the CyberPower PCs that we've ran into over the course of many years, and the reason why people give them crap, is one, you'll find out probably in a couple years that your power supply will pass, which isn't a big deal. You can just go buy a new power supply and put it in there. And then you'll find out also, if you have the 14th generation Intel i7, definitely make sure you do the BIOS update. And this is where it becomes sometimes tricky with iBuyPower or CyberPower or MSI, or even Corsair started doing this, which is absolutely obnoxious. But they have OEM boards with OEM BIOS, so the only place you can go get the BIOS is from the OEM, which is iBuyPower or Corsair or so on and so on. They take forever to get the BIOS updates out for their motherboards, and it's kind of a sensitive thing for the Intel 14th and 13th generation processors. It's kind of sensitive to get it on a timely manner. And they don't notify their customers that, hey, you have to do a BIOS update in order to keep your CPU from degrading. And if your CPU degrades with your warranty, you have to send the whole system back to iBuyPower in order to get it resolved under warranty, which sucks. So that is the downside to going with an iBuyPower, is the warranty's tied, and it makes it more difficult to fix problems like that. And then you don't always get the BIOS in a timely fashion, because they have to produce the BIOS, release it, and then make sure you get it. So that's the downside. It's an ASUS motherboard. It's more than likely an ASUS OEM iBuyPower motherboard, meaning it probably has a unique identifier in the model number that is different than the actual board. So let's say you got an ASUS Z790 Prime board. It might be an ASUS Z79-E. or something like that. But definitely, if you do have a 14th or 13th generation i7, start looking into doing that BIOS update as soon as possible, because I guarantee that computer's been sitting on a shelf for a while, so it's probably got an old version of the BIOS, and you definitely want the microcode update that comes with the recent updates for that generation of processor from Intel. Because what will happen if you don't do the BIOS update is your CPU will degrade over time, and within about a year or two, you're going to have blue screens of death happening for no reason at all, and it's going to be your CPU, and then you'll curse Intel, and you'll just be out of warranty. It sucks. It's kind of a crappy situation with Intel, and it's not iBuyPower's fault. It's Intel's fault. Let's see here. I'm out at about 6 months ago. It's got a 500. You got it about 6 months ago. 500 gig M.2, 16 gigs of DDR5, and then Intel Lake 9500 and 50 bucks or 150 bucks. Yeah, that's a pretty good deal for a little mini PC. So what you're saying is buy another motherboard when I save some more money up. Only if, like, okay, don't go out and invest in another motherboard just because. That's not my advice. My advice is if you run into the problem where you can't get a BIOS update, that's when you start looking at that. And then if you, of course, that comes with caveats, because if you upgrade your motherboard, they're using an OEM license key for Windows, so then you have to go update or buy a new license key and relicense Windows. So there's caveats involved with doing that. So don't do it unless you have to, I guess is what I'm saying. I'm just throwing out the pros and cons that exist. But it's definitely not a bad deal. You probably got it a lot cheaper than any builder would have been able to build it, because one of the benefits with iBuyPower, CyberPower, Alienware, HP, Legion, which is Lenovo, which used to be IBM, places like, you know, organizations like that, they have benefits where they can buy these components in bulk, and some of them actually have proprietary in-house built parts, so they can build it for a lot cheaper. It's just once you start getting into proprietary parts, you're stuck with proprietary parts. So that's the handoff. Or you can skip all that nerdy stuff and just get a pre-built from him. Oh, thanks. Thanks, some giant idiot. Anyway, sorry about the rant. Not really rant, just kind of went down an aisle and just got lost there for a minute. Opened a box, and then there's the box, and then I got stuck in the box. But then again, Asus tax $1,000 for an X870E is a bit of a meme in its own right. I get that. That crosshair board seems to have wasted on that case and with the LCD. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cool features on this board. Outside of that, there's the expansion card for more M.2. I mean, there's actual reasons to purchase this board other than it has an LCD screen, which is pretty cool. But we're posted. All 96 gigs of the RAM are there. That's a good sign. The Samsung 9100 Pro 8 terabyte is showing up. Of course, the 9950X 3D, along with the RTX 4090 that's displaying. The only thing that we could not finish or resolve is the GPU support bracket, because I had a Leon Lee GB02, which wouldn't work with this board. And then I think there was a miscount in the fans, so I left one of the Antec fans on the bottom of the front, which is barely noticeable. Very hard to notice. So you're still going to lane share and drop the GPU from 16X. Yeah, if you use the expansion, yeah. Yeah, I understand. But I mean, if you're using that much storage, you're not using this for gaming, you're using it for something else. So you might not need the full 16x lane for the GPU at that point. Really just planning the build correctly. I really hope AM6, yeah, I hope they do too, but I don't think we're going to hear about that until like, what, 2027, or I guess it's not too far off. This is probably when we'll start hearing about it. 2027, I assume. 2028, maybe. Do you know anything about Ryzen 5 5500? LOL, I can't find any info on it anywhere except Amazon. I'm on a budget and it's like dirt cheap. Okay, so Ryzen 5 5500, great cheap budget CPU. Yes. Downside, it only supports PCIe 3.0, even though, and it's also on a Zen 2 or Zen 3, Zen 2 architecture, if I remember correctly, which is why it doesn't support PCIe 3.0 or 4.0. So if you're buying, for example, a B550 and then buying a Gen 4 SSD, running that CPU means your Gen 4 SSD is only going to run at PCIe Gen 3 speeds, which is in most cases half the speed. So just be aware that you will not have PCIe Gen 4. Also, another use case, if you are using the Ryzen 5 5500 and it has PCIe 3.0 support on a B550 motherboard, and you're running something that requires PCIe Gen 4, for example, more of the more budget cards will want PCIe 4.0 to run better, and where it actually impacts its performance running in PCIe 3.0. So that's another thing to think of, is you're saving money on the CPU, but you're losing performance. Does it outweigh that? That's what you have to kind of justify. Does it make sense to cut the cost here to lose performance on something I'm paying for here? 5000 is Zen 3. No, I'm specifically talking about the 5500, which I think is built on the Zen 2 architecture, not Zen 3. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, because I can't remember. There's a bazillion Zens now, it feels like. And yes, I know the Zen 5000, like the 5600, the 5600X, the 5700X, the 5800X, the 5800X 3D, the 5700X 3D, the 5900X, those are all Zen 3s for sure. But I'm pretty sure the 5500 is Zen 2. It was like a month and a half ago I was going to get a 64 gigs of RAM for like $210. Oh my god. You don't really need it. No, you don't, Toto, you don't. 32 gigs, if you're not capping that, then you are good. I think that's wrong. It's an artificial limit of that specific chip, I think, because the 3900X did PCIe 4.0. Yes. But I'm pretty sure the 5500, the Ryzen 5 5500, is Zen 2. I'm going to go look it up. We're going to go look it up. Just on AMD's website. But I know for sure the 5500 does not support PCIe 4.0. I know what I'm talking about, guys. I'm not that crazy. I may sound crazy, but I was told there would be no fact-checking here. We're fact-checking. We're fact-checking. Fact-checking. AMD's so bad about the CPU, they don't even want to show it. They don't even want to list it. Do, do, do. Aha. Okay, general specifications of a Ryzen 5 5500. It is Zen 3. So it is Zen 3. But does it support PCIe Gen 4? It does not. It supports PCIe Gen 3 only. So I was halfway right. It is Zen 3, but it only supports Gen 3. It's Zen 3, only supports PCIe 3.0. Does not support PCIe 4.0. I could have swore this was like Zen 2 or something like that. Maybe it's the 4500 that I'm thinking of. Yeah, I'm a PC gamer. I'm playing a game that was designed for the console. What a it does not. Artificial segmentation like that is such an Intel move. I know. Yeah, that is aka the 10th generation and 11th gen, then the 12th gen. Right? Yeah. This is a full tower case, 100% yes. Full tower case. Behemoth. Well, you're correct. I think I'm thinking of the Ryzen 5 4500 that's Zen 2. Maybe that's what it is. I kind of just forget that chip exists all the time. But I think that's what I was thinking of. I don't know. There's so many parts I can't remember. I'm getting old. Probably those are OEM only chips. Maybe. They used to write games for PC and then they would tone it down for the consoles. Now they write for the consoles and then we gotta wait for them to write them up. Or, crank them up, yeah. Which are all based on Zen 2. Yeah. Isn't it great? 3,000 equals non-OEM. 4,000 equals OEM. Yeah, but the 4,500 we could pick up that's non-OEM. 5,000 non, 6,000 OEM. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. Rebranded confusion. Yes, it's a smokescreen tactic. Right? Let's just take 3,000 series and we'll make it 4,000 series. Put a new stamp on it. Then we can sell all our old inventory. Keep selling it. Yeah, the G models. I hated the G models from AMD. I was not a big fan of them. There weren't even any like good use cases for them. You either went with a non-G model CPU or you went with Intel. That was really the answer. I'm sorry, I'm using AI and I'm not checking. It's not great. The game should be written with P for what PCS PCs can do. Yeah, now some 10-year-old consoles. That rebranding strat worked for Intel over a decade. Yeah. Here's the new improved Intel. Literally the same thing. Thought we would take empty COD spot, but and added a GPU. Or I'm sorry, not COD. Sorry, the monitor is very far away from me. I thought they would take the empty CCD spot and added a GPU in there, connected through the IOD and fabric. Instead, it's a motherboard chip with half the cache that loses in CPU tasks to its non-G counterpart. Yes. It is a... I think they did it a lot better on the newer series where they just eliminated the G, and I think they did a better job on the 7000 series up. The 8000 series, though, that was a joke. That's just dumb. It's OEM chip, like you said. I built PCs when it was cool. I've been building PCs for a very long time, too. I wanted to run games at ultra settings back when, like, SLI was a thing. And consoles are just kind of a joke. Yeah, they still kind of are. But you could have fun with play a game on PCs where, like, Ultimate, they downgraded the game so you could play on the console. Yes, they have done that. That is because there was so many people that wanted to play in the PC realm on a console that they had to make it like even playing ground. I was seriously considering buying one, but I realized it's easier to repurpose my 3900X, buy a cheap 5500 XT GPU and slap it. I'm assuming Linux is what I think I read there on my server. Why does it say you have been streaming for 10 hours? Porgasloor, I have no idea why it says I've been streaming for 10 hours, because I haven't been. I've only been streaming for 3 hours and 9 minutes, which was plenty of time for this build. I am glad we got it done, because my feet hurt. I need to go to bed. It's 12:18 a.m. here. I still have to eat dinner. Still haven't done that. Nice. Friday night too, guys. What are you guys doing here listening to me? Friday night, go get out there and game. 90% of the games are written for console, and yeah, I know. I think I already read that one. Didn't I read that one? I read that one. Oh, all right, guys. That's enough for me. I will be back tomorrow. We have 1, maybe 2 builds to do tomorrow. Thank you for the follow. Shadowized. Shadowized. Is it shadowized or shadowized? I think it's shadowized. Shadowized. Yeah, if you are interested in joining the Discord, thank you, Porgasloor. You can do !Discord in the chat, which for some reason those commands are not working over there in... Thank you, some giant idiot. The command for some reason is not working over there on Twitch, and I think it's because it has something to do with the fact that it says I've been streaming for 10 hours. Something's broken with Twitch, and we'll figure that out. But feel free to join the Discord and hang out there. Do lots of cool, stupid, fun stuff in there. Weird. Thanks, yes. You gotta help your bro out and tell him to change those fans, dude. No, he was pretty dead set on these. I tried to talk him into Leon Lee fans briefly. So. He wanted the best performance. He didn't care about the aesthetics. Performance was his thing, goal. And so he got the best, which is Noctua. With that being said, guys, I am done for the night, and we will see you back tomorrow for more builds. Yeah, T30s. Cool. You get my point, because the only thing that isn't... I understand. I understand, Tony. All right, guys. Have a good Friday night. I'll see you tomorrow, Saturday, which is actually technically today, but we'll see you then. Later in the day. Have a good night, guys.